You're watching Rehatch Designs by Tina Williams, where I remake and update unwanted and discarded items into beautiful home decor in many different styles and in many different ways to resell in my booths or to use in my own home. So sit back and enjoy the video, and if you like it, please give me a thumbs up, a like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you'll know when I upload future videos. Thanks for watching. Hi everybody, this is Tina. Hope you're doing well today. Project number 1, we are going to be using the Fairy Tale Florals by IOD. This is part of their new summer release. And as you can see, that beautiful floral that is on there, I don't know what happened to the footage, but I bought this little picture quite a long time ago off of Temu, and it was just plain, and I went ahead and put one of the florals on there from the Fairy Tale Florals, and somehow it did not show that, but it was just a plain little picture, and I'm going to add a few more on there so you'll see how you do it, but you can see how beautiful that is. Anyway, these other little pieces kind of coordinate with it, and it's really, this pack has a lot of coordinating pieces, and they look very vintage or even antique. I really love them. They're gorgeous. If you're trying to make something have that very vintage look, this is definitely for you. All I'm doing is cutting this little piece on the transfer out so it'll bend. So then it'll bend on that piece. All you do is you take off the backing off of the transfer. You know, you cut out the piece that you want, take the backing off, stick it down, and then you use their little transfer stick and you rub on it. And I'm just rubbing all the way across it, and that releases the transfer. And what you do is you just lift up to see, to make sure it's coming off, and if it's not, you go back and rub a little bit more, and eventually it'll all come off and be beautiful. And what you'll find in this little pack is you'll find these symmetric little pieces where you have a matching piece that goes the other way, so that you can do something like this and have this coordinating piece that goes on there. And I put a little butterfly in the middle. So all I'm doing is putting that all over, and then now what I'm going to do after I've gotten all my transfers down and I've burnished them, which is basically taking the plastic transfer sheet and shiny side down rubbing it, is I am taking a little bit of Paint Couture's Amber Honey Glaze and going over the wording. This is raised in that little plaque just to kind of make it more prominent, and I will wipe a lot of that off. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to take some matte polyacrylic, and I am going to mix that with some of the Paint Couture Amber Honey Glaze, and that makes it a little bit lighter. And I'm going to go ahead and go over the whole piece with that, and basically I'm going to wipe off a lot of it, but that's going to seal our piece, and it's also going to vintage it up a little bit. If you don't like that look, you definitely could leave that part out and be done once you put the transfers, but I would definitely put some sort of sealer on it. You can spray one on, you can paint one on, but definitely put a sealer on it. You can use wax also if you want to. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do with this, and then it'll be done. So this is our piece. It's all done. I think it made it just a completely different piece. I absolutely love it. I'm definitely going to be using that in my home, I think. I just think it's gorgeous. So now for project number 2, we're using gilded etiquettes. And this has a lot of like smaller pieces in it. Some of them not so small, but they're not huge. But this is going to be wonderful at Christmas time, and I'm going to kind of show you kind of It doesn't have to be used for Christmas, but I had Christmas in mind when I did it. I had this charger that I bought. Actually, I have quite a few of them. And I'm probably going to do more of these. But I am going to paint the inner part of this charger. It was already gold. I didn't do anything to it. And I'm going to be using Fusion's Highlander, which take note of that color because it is the perfect Christmas red. I'm going to be ordering a bunch more of that. I don't have all my Fusion stuff posted on my website yet, but we'll have it in my booths by Friday, and hopefully by next week I'll have it all in my website. But I can tell you this is the perfect Christmas red. And Fusion has a top coat already built in it, and it is going to stick to this very easily. It has a primer and a top coat, so I am just going around the edges, which is really a lot easier than it looks because you just kind of take your brush and go around, and if you go over a little bit, you can just wipe it off with a wipe while you're going. And I put 2 coats of the red on. And now I'm going to cut out one of these transfers. And what's really fun about this transfer sheet, you'll see it has all that little wording in there. And I don't use it on this project, but I do in a project, not in this video, in another video coming up. And it's really great that you can use all those little pieces and save the actual transfer sheet when you get done, because not in this video, but in another video, we will be using those. So if you do use it, you get a lot of bang for your buck out of these transfers. So basically, you just take the backing off, you put it on just like any other transfer. If you are not using a paint that has a sealer in it, you should put a sealer down first. Definitely don't use wax because you will not get that transfer off if you use wax. But you want to make sure that it is thoroughly dry, whatever you're putting it on, because otherwise the transfer will pull up the paint. And there it is, absolutely gorgeous. And to me, it looks very Christmassy. And then see that sheet when you're done? Save that. So I am just going to go over this with 2 coats of polyacrylic. It's food safe if you want to use it as a serving dish later. I wouldn't put this in the dishwasher or scrub it in the sink, but it's definitely something that you could use at Christmas if you wanted to, or any time, really. It doesn't say anything Christmas, but to me, it looks Christmas. I think it's really pretty. So now we're on to project number 3, and we're using Rose Botanical, and we're also going to be using the ephemeral type stamp. And boy, let me tell you, both of these are, you're going to love both of these. They're amazing. I mean, you really, really get a lot. What I'm showing you here is this is a clipboard that I bought on Amazon, and I bought them in bulk, and I will list that. We're also going to be using the Felicity mold, and I'm showing you that right now what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and use my Fabricast resin, and it's a fast curing resin. It's the same as all the others. You have, A and B. You put equal amounts in, and then you stir it. And then after you stir it, you just basically pour it in. This stuff sets up really, really fast. I've already wasted some twice because I poured a bunch, and you just do not have a lot of time. So I would just pour a lot less. I always have extra molds around too, by the way, so that if I pour too much, I'm not wasting it. So now what I'm doing is I am taking my clipboard, and I am going to give it 2 coats of Dixie Belle drop cloth. It's a nice off-white color. And what's really good about these clipboards is that they take the paint extremely well. They're easy to paint. I sell these in my booth all the time, depending upon what I do to them, from $18 to $22. And you can make them in mass, and they're a quick sell. They really are. You can use them when you're done as a to put photographs on, to clip them on there, or in a kitchen for recipes or whatever. So anyway, what I'm going to be doing is, if you take the ephemeral type stamp, and let me tell you, this stamp's amazing. All of that writing you see on there, those stamps are separate. So you can separate them. That makes this, oh gosh, well worth the money. And I do junk journaling, and I can definitely tell you that this is a stamp that if you do any kind of journaling or junk journaling, you want this. So what I'm doing is I'm rubbing over it with sandpaper, and that gets it ready to accept the ink. And then you need to use a permanent ink. You can use IOD, you can use whatever you have. And you just basically, I am using the whole stamp as is. I'm not taking anything off at this point because I like the way they have it positioned. And I am just stamping over the dry clipboard. And you'll see there that I have like a little clamp opening it up so I can get underneath it. And I will take some pieces off. See, there's a piece that I just took off. And I'm going to go ahead and just stamp some pieces so that I have stamping all the way on top. And I stamped the front and the back of this clipboard just to make it look more finished. And this is the back now, and I've already re-stamped it. So there you go. So now that I've done that, I'm taking my castings out of the mold, and I've over poured a little bit, but that's super easy to fix. You can usually just take off those little pieces like I did with my fingers. And I'm deciding what pieces I want to use. And then after I do that, I am just going to go ahead and paint over them with, again, my drop cloth by Dixie Belle. And then what I do is I take my hot glue gun, and I use Gorilla hot glue. It does make a difference. It's so much better than other hot glue. And I'll also put some Tite Bond on there with it. I'll just put it on the back of the piece. So between the two of them, it's a permanent bond. Now I'm just looking through my Rose Botanicals and trying to decide which one I want to use, what's the right size, etc. There's so many beautiful ones in this. Absolutely gorgeous. So anyway, that is what I decide. I'm going to do this one over here, and I'm going to cut out the wording. I always usually use that later. I save all those little pieces. And so now what you're going to do is figure out where you want it. And if you notice, I have just a little clamp opening that up so that I can work underneath it. So I'm going to put this a little bit underneath it. And again, you take off the white backing, and then you have your transfer sheet, and you just rub on it until you can feel it release. And I did make a mistake on this. I did not seal my chalk paint before I put my transfer on, which I usually always do unless I'm using something like Fusion that has a sealer in it. And I think because I used the Fusion before, I just kind of forgot that the Dixie Belle paint does not have a top coat on it. You can transfer without it, but in my opinion, it's way easier if it's sealed. Just use any kind of sealer. Make sure it's 100% dry before you try and use it. And then you just burnish it after you get it on. And now I'm going over the whole thing with just my matte polyacrylic. I'm just going to do one coat of that. Now I'm going to do the front and the back. So I go ahead and do front and back with just the regular matte polyacrylic. And then after I do that and I let it dry completely, I go over the whole thing and the castings. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that top piece on now. And put that on there. And I go over the whole thing with the Paint Couture Amber Honey Glaze that I mixed with polyacrylic to give it that vintage look. And I just put one more piece of wording over it, another transfer on there. And that is pretty much ready to go, except I do one more thing, is I am taking the gilding wax, the gold gilding wax from Dixie Belle, and I'm going over all of my castings. These are so detailed and so beautiful. I'm telling you that Felicity mold is going to be very, very popular because it's roses, and you know we can't have enough roses. And so I'm going to go over all of that, just with my finger, going over all the raised portions of it, and it really, really brings out that detail and makes this look just beautiful and feminine and gorgeous. And then I'm going to go ahead and go over all of the edges around the clipboard just to kind of tie it all together, and then that'll be it. So here it is. I think it turned out beautiful. Like I said, you can put pictures on it and change them out. It makes a great little frame. I sell these all the time and people love them. So project number 4. This is a frame that I thrifted for not very much because it was 75% off the price you see there. I don't know, maybe a couple bucks at most. And it already had this green backing on it. The backing's green and the paper's green, and to me it just kind of looked like Christmas green. So I thought, these gilded pieces just to me lend themselves to Christmas because you always have the gold and Christmas. Of course you could use these anytime. So I am going to use the gilded curated signage, and I'm looking through it trying to pick one out that I want to use, and these are all a larger size, so it works really well on something like this. So I'm going to use the first one that I see there, and that is basically an advertisement for a vocal coach, it looks like. And I didn't do anything to this paper at all. I just, just put the transfer on it, whole one piece, and just rub until I feel everything releasing, just like any other transfer. Now I will say the wording takes a little bit more to get off, but that's true with any transfer really. Anytime you have a lot of small typography on there, it does take more to get that off. You have to really concentrate and make sure you go over that quite a bit. A couple little letters did not come off completely, but that's okay because we're kind of going for a vintage look here. So anyway, I go over the whole thing, and make sure you save this transfer sheet because trust me, there's a lot you can do with it when you're done. We're not going to do it in this video, but we will in another. So hang on to that. So go over the whole thing. Make sure you get everything all down. And it's really hard to tell because these transfers are so shiny that they have a little bit of a glare. So anyway, I am going to go over this frame. It's just a plastic frame. And I am going to be using the gilding wax from Dixie Belle. It is a wax and it's a permanent wax, so you don't really have to seal it or do anything. So you just go, I'm going to go over the whole thing pretty much one time and then go in a few little spots where I might have missed later. And then I'm going to take just a little wet wipe that I dipped in alcohol because this is permanent wax. It's hard to get off. And I distressed my frame. And now I'm going to go over it with that same mixture that I've been using, that Paint Couture and Amber Honey Glaze that I mixed with polyacrylic, and go over it just to give it a more vintage look. And I pop that back in the frame, clean the glass. I put a little wreath on there just to give you an idea of something you might want to do with that. Of course, again, it doesn't have to be just for Christmas, but I can definitely see it used for that. So project number 5, we're going to be using the gilded etiquettes again. And I have just a candle that I purchased that is just in, you see these all over. You probably have some in your home that, have a sticker on it. The hardest part of this entire project was getting the sticker off. I know y'all know that is usually the most difficult. So I scrape it off, make sure I clean it off with alcohol. And I just picked out one of the transfers and I'm going to go over it. And they transfer on glass extremely well. It's very easy. And this, I think, turned out beautiful. And can you think of all the Christmas gifts that you can make with these? Very easy. Makes a simple candle look elegant. Number 6, we're going to use the same transfer book again. And this time I have a little porcelain round that I bought. It's an ornament that I bought off of Amazon, and I will link that. And so I just found some pieces that would fit on there. And I'm going to do the front and the back. Super, super easy project. This would be a great little, housewarming gift or gift you can give to someone, I'm doing a little Christmas in July. I'm throwing in my Christmas in July in these videos, guys, because I told you I'm super busy. So I probably will do a Christmas in July video soon. But for right now, this is what you're going to get. So anyway, they turn out really, really cute. Not hard to do at all. And there's tons and tons of little pieces in there that you could do this, to make these. And you don't have to use these porcelain ones. You can use them on wood. You could do anything. You could paint your wood different colors. Yeah, I think these will make great little gifts with this pretty little French wording. Now, I did not seal these when I was done. You could do that if you wanted to. But I did not seal them. And I didn't seal the candle either. So, and then I just took a little red satin ribbon and put it on there. Of course, you could put something a little fancier if you wanted to. And these turned out really pretty. You can't really see the shine in this picture. I'm not really sure why. But they're very pretty. So that is it, guys. And if you want to purchase any of these products, I will link my website and my Etsy in the description box. So I hope you liked it, and I hope I get to see you all again next time. Take care and have a great day. Thanks for stopping by.